from a micro to a macro level, the fight has to go on many levels. Putting that manure into my plants and my trees, because we have a lot of greenery. Even though we are in Bombay, my house is very, we call them Pednekar ke ped. So, we try and make it as green as possible. Well, my parents definitely they kind of got a sense of who their daughter is going to grow up to be, and I think that's why they very aptly named me Bhumi. This Earth Day, let's strive to create a better world.
Hello everyone, welcome to BI Voices, a home for impactful dialogue that drives positive change. Today we have with us actress and environmentalist Bhumi Pednekar. She has been an inspiration through her words as well as actions. Her movies always involve some social or environmental messaging, and her action always tries to spread awareness and drive a positive change. In 2023, the United Nations Development Programme named her as India's first national advocate for sustainable development. And just last month, World Economic Forum awarded her with the Young Global Leaders Award. Let's hear what she had to say on this World Earth Day 2024. Welcome, Bhumi.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Let's start with the most important question. Earth Day translates to Prithvi Divas in Hindi. Should we rename it as Bhumi Divas?
Well, my parents definitely they got a sense of who their daughter is going to grow up to be, and I think that's why they very aptly named me Bhumi. It's just, I think I just connect so deeply with what my name stands for from a very young age, and I'm so passionate about conserving our planet, our environment. This is a area of passion for me, most definitely.
So, on a serious note, so you have spoken a lot about being anxious about climate change from very early years, and even before you entered Bollywood or became an actress. So, tell us a bit more about how you dealt with eco-anxiety during your adolescent years. And today, Gen Zs are facing these issues, and they often feel powerless in terms of speaking out and addressing this anxiety. So, what do you suggest? What suggestions you have for them?
So answering the first part of your question on how I dealt with, climate anxiety, I didn't know I had it till recently when I heard the term, because when I was growing up, forget climate anxiety, any kind of mental health disorders were not really spoken of. Mental health was not ever given any value or any importance, right? And even when I started my climate journey, it was a very lonely path for me, because not a lot of people were speaking about it. Every time I spoke about it, people kind of made fun of me. But eventually, through the years, I met like-minded people, and I realized that, okay, there are people, this is a real problem. As the famous saying goes, that climate change is real. It is our biggest truth right now that humanity and all the millions of species are dealing with. And I met like-minded people that empathized with what I was feeling. And that kind of gave me a lot of fuel to lend my voice more when I became somebody famous, when I gathered an audience to just kind of reach out to as many people. And that's how I even started Climate Warrior. And to the younger lot that is dealing with it, my only advice to you would be, find people that believe in the cause that you do, speak to them, find ways of dealing with it. And I feel like, when you have something as specific as climate anxiety, the best way to deal with it is to do some impact-led work, to do some action-led work. So for me, even today, when I get worried, and I really get worried, I have bouts of, there are times when I just go into a spiral that, what will happen, etc., etc., because there's so much information that also comes our way. In those times, what truly helps me is to actually do something towards dealing with the problem. the youth is kind of leading this fight. So even though it does get a little demotivating when you don't see major action, but also what motivates me is the fact that today climate change and all the abuse that we put our planet through, or all the environmental insecurities that we as a race are going through, at least it's in the forefront of every conversation, as opposed to what it was a couple of years ago. you know you have the COP forums, you have like different forums that are today actively talking about it. You have people in places of power, global leaders, that are trying to find a solution. You've also seen such a large shift in consumer behavior. You see large corporates that are propagating sustainability. If even if we speak of, say, fashion, which is a large polluter. Today, you will see some of the biggest brands that are making a large switch towards sustainability. It can be sustainable fabric, it can just be sustainable practices, ditching material that has a large carbon footprint. So I just feel like the only thing that you can do as somebody young and who feels passionately about the cause is that don't stop making any noise. And it's not about how many people you convert. Even if you convert one person, it's a very, very big deal.
Just to follow up on that, climate fatigue is something that people have been talking about a lot of awareness campaigns, a lot of information on media. All this is leading to climate fatigue among the audience. Do you have any take on
I
that?
mean, look, it definitely, what happens is that anything that makes you uncomfortable, you want to not talk about, right? Because being that ostrich mentality where you just kind of put your head, in soil or in ground, and you behave like everything is okay around you, does not work. Because we are the abusers, we are the ones that have violated our planet this much. So even if you're fatigued, get that motivation to undo it, is all I can say. I think it's very important to know the language. Because India is such a diverse country. Budding actors come from all across the country, to join films. Work constantly on your language, work on your craft, go to workshops. If you have the privilege of knowing somebody, who is from the industry, it doesn't matter in what capacity, go learn from them, assist. I think what really helped me is working behind the camera. It really, really helped me. And it's a tough one to crack. Just believe in yourself. I think the best piece of advice I can give, like any young budding actors, is that don't lose hope.
As an actress, you have a platform to influence other, but it also puts you in a spotlight where all your actions, everything is watched constantly. So how do you incorporate environmental awareness, and how do you try to be a walking example or a living example of what you preach?
It is on many levels. It is a very, very layered effort from my side. And you're absolutely right that, we are under the public lens. So we also get a lot of public scrutiny, and absolutely rightly so. So it is just about changing our consumption habits. When I kind of started practicing circular economy at home, it was so difficult for me to convert our practices at home. Just the fact that I had to make sure that, our garbage is segregated, our wet waste goes into a compost bin, or getting that compost bin at home, and, letting my staff know that, listen, this is good, putting that manure into my plants and my trees, because we have a lot of greenery. Even though we are in Bombay, my house is very, we call them Pednekar ke ped. So, we try and make it as green as possible, making sure that our water consumption is measured. So we have, like, I've literally put water stoppers on every water source in my house, because when I realized that, okay, they don't listen to me once I'm out of the house, because you don't need that much water to clean things around. Just small little things, food wastage, how you use your natural resources. Just opt for cleaner options today, from cars to electric appliances. Everything have better options. My biggest forte is that I have a platform that reaches out to people. And I always tell people living a sustainable life is not one of inconvenience. I'm not that person who has given up everything for the fight. And there are some great people who have, you know, but still you can make an impact in your own small way. And that small impact can, in the larger picture, be a part of a big solution.
What are the kind of things that your foundation is doing, and how are you involved personally in making it more effective and
So
impactful?
we started a climate warrior, which I'll speak about first, which is our non-profit. It is my advocacy platform in 2019. The idea being that there was so much work that we were doing about creating awareness. I just kind of wanted to bring it under one umbrella, and just using my various platforms, people that I know, colleagues, getting them to speak about it as much as possible, doing talks, some on ground action work as well, to just basically lending my being to the cause. And then we started the Bhumi Foundation, and through the Bhumi Foundation we are again just trying to streamline everything that we do. We've not opened it up for others to come in and work at, because right now it is more streamlined through what I do, because I don't want any kind of misleading work to happen. So I've been very, very conscious that I want our work to be, even though it's small, it needs to be done ethically in the most correct and the most impactful way. But my hope is that, eventually in the coming years, the foundation becomes big enough that we can bring about like large scale impact. We try and make sure that we don't have a lot of single use plastic that is used. Like, people are given water bottles, they can go fill in their bottles. Um, and see, even within a film set, honestly, I work very hard into trying to make them as sustainable as possible, but we've still not cracked it as an industry. And I really hope that one day I can kind of pioneer that. I've made a career on socially relevant films. I always try to do films that have a positive impact on the society. So that's just the kind of person I am, and that's the kind of cinema I strive to always do. Today, as individuals, as consumers, I think one big thing that we can do is kind of look for businesses and support businesses that are trying to go green and that are trying to create positive impact on our planet. I think it's very important to also understand that this is not our planet alone. We share it with like millions of species. Go pick up that item where the carbon footprint is lesser. So we just need to be aware of our consumption habits. That would be my parting note. I think my Earth Day message would be that honestly, every day is Earth Day. Um, this is our only home. There is no alternative. There is no plan B. There is no other option that we have. The way we don't like abusing the four walls that we live in, we should not be abusing this beautiful planet that we live on either. The way we show empathy and sympathy towards our loved ones, we should show that empathy towards everybody else that we share this planet with. The generation that I was born in, I've seen everything in abundance. That is the kind of planet that we should leave behind for the future generations to come. It really, really breaks my heart when on the news you see that a major city like Bangalore is still in a water crisis, or like our capital. There are days in winter where schools is cancelled because the pollution level is so high or the smog level is so high. Or even in my city in Bombay where I live, right, like where there are so many people that are getting respiratory issues. It really breaks my heart. And we all have together, we all are a part of the problem, and we all need to be a part of the solution as well.
Thanks so much,
Thank you
Bhumi.
so
Thanks for
much.
making time.
Appreciate the time you took. Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.